In front of me on this board is 12 NHL teams, and these NHL teams are going to be built from players from their hometown, with a couple of exceptions. Now these exceptions will be addressed later in the video, but I already know what the first question is going to be. Why is there not 32 NHL teams on this board? If we're talking hometowns, there should be 32 teams. And I can answer that question very easily. Now the best way for me to explain myself is using facts right here. So here's all the active NHL players from North Carolina. This would be representing the Carolina Hurricanes. They have Kovalenko and they have Skylar Brindamore, and that is it. They only have 2 active NHL players, so that means we would have Kovalenko, Skylar Brindamore, and then 18 0 overall players. We would just be wasting our time at that point. Another good example is Utah. They have Trevor Lewis, they have Ian Moore, and that's it. They would only have 2 players and then a bunch of 0 overalls. I don't think that's really fair, and I don't think that would make an entertaining video. So when it comes to all of these states that only have like 3 or 4 NHL players, they just got combined with other states. We still want to see these states being represented, but I don't want to see them represented with a bunch of 0 overalls. So with all that being said, it's finally time for us to dive into our video, and this is going to be a good one. Now of course, like always, we have to spin our attacking team wheel to figure out who's going to be the attacking team, and it looks like that's going to be the Boston Bruins. So if Boston's attacking, that means they can't be defending, but let's see who they're going to be going against. It looks like they're going against the Calgary Flames, also known as all of Alberta, because Calgary didn't have enough players themselves, but neither did Edmonton, so we just combined those 2 cities. We have the Calgary Flames, but they're going to be known as the Alberta Flames, and we're going to see the Alberta Flames taking the Boston Bruins on in a best of 3 series. Before we dive into the series though, we should probably look at who's on the rosters. Now representing the Boston Bruins aren't just going to be players from Boston, but all Massachusetts. So we're going to see Jack Eichel leading the way here to 94 overall, but he's going to have Matt Boldy at his side and Connor Garland, Frank Vetrano, Ryan Donato, Chris Kreider, Kevin Hayes, Matt Beniers, Charlie Coyle. Now this isn't a bad team whatsoever. Like, they have a pretty solid defense. You got Noah Hanifin and John Carlson leading the way, so that's a pretty good number 1 pairing. John Marino and Matt Grzelcyk on the second pairing. It falls off a little bit with the third pairing, but still, this isn't a bad team whatsoever. When it comes to the goaltending situation, there's a clear number 1, and that's going to be Joey Daccord, 87 overall. He's going to be leading the way for Boston, and they're looking to do some damage, but they definitely have a tough matchup. Now I don't think that the Alberta Flames offense is going to be quite as good as the Boston Bruins. Braden Point, Dylan Gunther, and Jake DeBrusk are great, but when it comes to the second line, Brendan Gallagher, Kirby Dach, Dylan Holloway, that's not giving me a lot of confidence here, other than Dylan Holloway, of course. On the third line, you got Jake Neighbors, stick on the ice legend Bobby McMahon. Okay, maybe I was sleeping on this team a little bit. The big thing with the Alberta Flames though, the defense. Josh Morrissey, Cale Makar, Jared Spurgeon, Caden Cooley, Jacob Middleton, Colton Parenko. This is a defense you can certainly win with. And then when it comes to goaltending, you got yourselves a great option here. Logan Thompson, 87 overall. I think Boston's offense is really going to be deciding this matchup. If they're able to score on the Alberta Flames defense, then I think they have a very good chance at winning, because I just don't know if the Alberta Flames offense is going to be enough here. But you know what? I've done enough talking. Let's jump into this matchup after you subscribe to the channel, of course, because we're trying to hit 84K by the end of the month. And if you're watching the content, you're clearly enjoying it, so make sure you hit the button down below right now. So it's time for our first matchup to finally get underway. The Boston Bruins taking on the Alberta Flames. Chris Kreider is going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Moving to the second, Braden Point's going to be responding, so we're going to have a close finish in game number 1. Not too much more you can ask for here. But Jake DeBrusk immediately scoring in the third period. The Flames are taking the lead in this one. And Taylor Hall is going to expand that lead. He's picking up a big time power play goal. A 3-1 lead for the Flames. Boston's going to have to respond pretty quick, but they have to stop taking penalties here. Time's just not on their side, especially if they're taking this many penalties. But Jack Eichel, a big time goal right there. There's 2 minutes left in this one. Now it's a minute left, and I think it's time for us to jump into it. If Boston's going to be scoring a late goal, I certainly want to witness it, but I also want to witness the missed empty net shots, because we know we're going to see a couple of those. Now Boston's putting on a ridiculous amount of pressure. I don't know how they haven't been able to score a goal. Like, it's ridiculous, but Noah Hanifin is going to find the back of the net here. It was 45 seconds, a straight offense on offense. No, it was ridiculous, but the Boston Bruins are going to be tying this one up, and we're off to overtime, unless somebody scores in the next 20 seconds, but I don't think that's going to be happening. Okay, the Boston Bruins might just want to end this game right here. Jack Eichel, a big-time slap shot right there. Cale Makar's collecting it, and all he has to do is get the puck out of the defensive zone here. They're going to break it out to Josh Morrissey, and we got ourselves overtime. It's a 3-3 game. The next goal is going to be winning this one. Now, the Calgary Flames are putting on a lot of pressure right now, but as long as Boston can get it out of the defensive zone, they're going to be okay. There's a loose puck. Joey Daccord, why are you not covering that? I feel like in a previous video, he's done the exact same thing. Joey Daccord in NHL 25 just makes bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Bro, what are you doing? So the Bruins are now on the brink of elimination. I don't know what Joey Daccord was thinking, but I don't think bro thinks in NHL 25. He just acts. I don't know what it is, but I feel like every time I'm in a video like this, Joey Daccord just makes some stupid mistake and it ends up costing his team. The Flames are picking up back-to-back goals here. The Bruins better respond pretty quick here. Time is not on their side. They only have 5 minutes left in this one. I think it's going to be a Logan Thompson shutout. And you know what? That's probably what it's going to be here. We're simulating the rest of this one. The Calgary Flames taking down the Bruins in 2 straight games. And just like that, the Massachusetts Bruins are going to be following. I know I've been calling them the Boston Bruins, but they're the Massachusetts Bruins. But that doesn't matter. They're still eliminated. So the Massachusetts Bruins are going to be following here. They're going to be eliminated by the Calgary Flames. The Bruins are going to be our first team eliminated. Now, normally I would add a player from the Bruins onto the Calgary Flames, but if we're doing hometown teams, I think we have to make this as realistic as possible. And I shouldn't really say that considering the Anaheim Ducks are comprised of like 10 different states, but you get the point here. I don't want to add a player from Boston onto the Flames. We got to see what the best of the best can do here. So we're finally one matchup down, but we can't stop here. We still have a ton more to go. The next attacking team is going to be the Vancouver Canucks, and they're going to have players from all over BC. Now, Vancouver's got themselves a pretty solid team, so you definitely can't be sleeping on them. But the Montreal Canadiens, they also have themselves a pretty solid team. We got an all-Canadian matchup here, but only one team's going to be surviving. So taking a look at the Vancouver Canucks team, they got themselves a really strong forward core. Connor Bedard, Sam Reinhart, Matt Barzal on the top line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Celebrini, Kent Johnson on the second. Even the third line is looking amazing. So you might be thinking, well, their defense has to be lacking then. Not whatsoever. Devon Toews, Shea Theodore, Bo Byram, Morgan Riley, like there is elite player on elite player. However, when it comes to goaltending, that's where they are lacking. Aiden Hill and Tristan Jarry, if anyone's going to hold this team back, it's going to be these two guys right here. Now, comparing to Vancouver's offense, Montreal doesn't have quite the same forward core here, but you still got some great pieces. You have Huberdeau, you got Marchessault on the top line, Philip Deneau, like they got some great center depth here. When it comes to the defense, that's not in too bad of a spot here. Samuel Girard, Chris Letang, you got Michael Matheson, Thomas Chabot, so you have a really strong left side. And then when it comes to goaltending, you got Marc-Andre Fleury, and if he can somehow return to his prime in this matchup, you might have a shot. But other than that, I think you guys are going to have your hands full with Vancouver. So our all-Canadian matchup starts right here, and Vancouver's immediately getting a power play. Like Montreal, you took a penalty like 30 seconds into the game. I don't know what y'all were doing. Like, how quick was that penalty? I think it was just immediately once the game started, 14 seconds in. What are you doing? How does that even happen? In the second period, we're going to see Joseph and Sam Reinhart exchanging goals, so we got ourselves a tie game entering the third period. I'm low-key surprised that we haven't seen Vancouver's offense showing up, but here goes Sam Reinhart scoring another goal. That doesn't really shock me. Like, we knew that Vancouver's offense was going to be flying. Brendan Dillon's going to be picking up a big-time goal. There's 5 minutes left in this one. Celebrini picking up a big-time goal. Montreal's not going to have enough time to make the comeback, so they're going to be dropping game one. So Montreal's already facing elimination here, and they're eliminated. Connor Bedard, a first-period hat-trick. Nah, bro is not messing around. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be falling 5-2. Connor Bedard's locking in that first period, and that's going to be the difference maker. So that was a dominant performance from the Vancouver Canucks. Connor Bedard stepping up when it mattered most. A hat-trick in the first period. Now, Vancouver was looking to end this one pretty quick. So with another team falling, we've officially made it into the top 10. As long as you didn't lose in the previous 2 matchups, you would have made it to the top 10. The New York Rangers are going to be our next attacking team, and they got some studs for sure. Like, when it comes to the New York Rangers, we had to add a couple extra states. Like, they got players from New Jersey, they got players from Maine. The Toronto Maple Leafs, though, they just got all of Ontario. So when it comes to this New York Rangers team and players from New York, New Jersey, you're going to see one name here that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And it's a defenseman on the New York Rangers. And who is that player? Thomas Harley. Now you might be thinking, well, Thomas Harley is Canadian. Stick on the ice. What are you doing? Why is he on the New York Rangers? Bro was born in Syracuse, New York, but since he has 2 Canadian parents, he has dual citizenship, and he chose to represent Canada at the international level. So that's why he was playing for Team Canada, even though he was technically born in New York. So when it comes to playing for your hometown team, considering he grew up in New York, I think it makes sense that he plays for the Rangers, because technically that's his hometown team. Luke Hughes is actually another one. He was born in New Hampshire, while his brothers were actually born in Florida. So that's where it makes things really interesting. So technically, even though Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, and Quinn Hughes are all brothers, they actually represent different teams based on where they were born. I don't know, that's just the way it is. When it comes to goaltending, that's going to be represented by Stolarz and Jonathan Quick here. So the Rangers, actually not as good of a team as I remember. The defense is absolutely elite though, don't get me wrong. They might not have the best offense and the best goaltending, but this is a pretty strong defense right here. So when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, Yeah, they're clearly the heavy favorite here. There is so many amazing players born in the Greater Toronto area, and there's also a couple guys that were born in London outside the Greater Toronto area, but technically they live closer to Toronto than they did Ottawa. So yeah, it just made a lot of sense for me to put them on the Toronto Maple Leafs here. Ottawa actually didn't have enough players born there, or even players in the surrounding area, for me to give them a hometown team. So yeah, we just stuck with the Toronto Maple Leafs here. They are clearly the heavy favorite, but then again, they are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Do not be surprised if they lose in the first round to the Rangers. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are clearly the heavy favorite coming into this matchup, but that doesn't really mean anything because they're also the Toronto Maple Leafs and they will always find a way to lose when it matters most. They're trailing entering the third period. Keep in mind, we saw what this Toronto Maple Leafs team looked like. There's just no way they lose, right? Travis Konechny is going to be picking up a big time goal to tie this game up, but it's still a tie game and it could really go either way. Now it looks like Toronto's just going to continue to put on the pressure. Mark Scheifele, a power play goal. Matt Duchene, he's going to be picking up a late goal. We have a minute 43 left in this one, but it's a 2-goal game. I can't see the Rangers making a comeback. So unless they score in the next like 30 seconds here, which I don't think they're going to do, they're going to be falling in game number 1. Like at the end of the day, we have to understand the Toronto Maple Leafs are clearly the heavy favorite here. There's just so much elite talent on that team. Luke Hughes and McDavid are going to be exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Marcus Foligno and Matt Duchene are exchanging goals. I will give the Rangers a lot of props. They're actually putting up a pretty solid fight right now. Unfortunately though, it looks like Toronto's offense is just too strong. Mitch Marner's picking up a goal. Dougie Hamilton's picking up a goal here. They got themselves a 2-goal lead entering the final 5 minutes here. The Rangers better score pretty quick, and I just don't think they're going to do that. Toronto's offense is too powerful right now, and they're going to be taking down the Rangers in a 2-game sweep. So the hometown Maple Leafs are taking down the New York Rangers. That's not really a massive surprise. Like at the end of the day, the Toronto Maple Leafs are absolutely stacked, but I don't think they're going to be winning this challenge because they're the Toronto Maple Leafs. They'll find a way to mess it all up. So 8 attacking teams remained here, and it looks like the next attacking team is going to be the Ducks. Now, the Ducks just aren't comprised of California, but also Nevada, and Arizona, and Oregon, and Washington, and like 5 other states. The Anaheim Ducks are basically just the west third of the United States. Like, when it comes to the western third of the United States, we're looking at states that only have 1 or 2 active NHL players. The Calgary Flames are going to be on the attack once again. We know what they're capable of. Now, it's actually kind of funny when you look at the Anaheim Ducks here, because this is the western third of the United States. They have 10 different states to select players from. Yet the Toronto Maple Leafs, who's just all of Ontario, is way better than this team. Like, they have way more depth, way more star players, but you can't sleep on this Ducks team. Austin Matthews, Matthew Tkachuk, Jason Robertson, Troy Terry, Tage Thompson, Brady Tkachuk. Like, they got some great pieces here. Looking at the defense, Slavin, Jones, Sanderson. Who cares about any of you guys? They got Brandon Carlo, and we all know Brandon Carlo is going to be the difference maker. And NHL 25 Thatcher Demko, they have him as well. So the Ducks could put up a pretty solid fight here. Now, I can understand that there might be a handful of people that aren't happy that I combined like 10 different states with the Ducks here. But you have to understand, if I didn't do this, we would have like 5, maybe even 10 NHL teams only represented by like 3 or 4 players. It would be 3 or 4 players and then a bunch of 0 overalls. And I feel like that would just be a waste of time. Like, at that point, it's just 0 overalls playing 0 overalls. And then when they eventually play a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, it'd be like a 40-goal blowout in every game. But right now, the Calgary Flames have a 2-1 lead entering the third period. Dylan Guenther's going to make that a 3-1 lead. The Flames are putting a lot of pressure on the Ducks here, and Dylan Guenther another goal. They got a 3-goal lead late in the third period here. I think they're going to be able to hold on to it. They're putting the Ducks on the brink of elimination heading into game 2. Like, we have the Alberta Flames taking down 10 different states. It's 10 different states combined, but yet the Alberta Flames are dominating so far. It's going to be a scoreless first period. Moving into the second period, it's going to be a lot of goals scored, but they're just exchanging here. It's a tie game entering the third period. I feel like this is going to end up being a pretty close finish. Now, Sam Steele's picking up a massive goal just 7 minutes in, but look at offensive defenseman Brandon Carlo picking up a big time goal. He's the only offensive defensive defenseman that we know. Austin Matthews is picking up a big time goal. 58 seconds left in this one, and we got ourselves a 1-goal game. So we're down to the final 25 seconds. The Flames are putting on some good pressure. Jones has got the puck, and he's looking to break it out here. He has a chance at the empty net, and of course his shot's going to be going wide. He actually lost the puck. The Flames are going to get one last rush here. Taylor Hall's got the puck, and he's going to try to send it in. Dylan Guenther's got it over to Jake DeBrusk. He's got one last chance here. Demko's going to make the save, but there's still 6 seconds left on the clock here. Calgary has to win the face-off. This is a big face-off for the Flames right here. If they win it, they still have a chance. If they lose it, this game's over. They're going to be losing it, and just like that, this game's over unless something stupid happens. And yeah, we don't have to worry about that. We got game 3 elimination coming up. So here we go, game 3 elimination. This is the equivalent of a game 7. In the first period, the Flames are going to be picking up 3 big goals, but the Ducks are picking up 2 big goals of their own. Moving into the second period, it's going to be a scoreless one, very different from the first period. Once again, the third period is going to be deciding this one. And Sam Steele's goal right here can end up being a difference maker. If Calgary scores another one here, I think they're going to have it in the bag, but they're not capitalizing on the power play. But that's because Dylan Guenther's just going to score a couple seconds later. Matthews will be able to score a late one, but it's not going to be enough. And the Alberta Flames are going to be taking down the Anaheim Ducks here, who are comprised of like 10 different states. One singular province is going to be taking down 10 different states combined. Also, what are the odds that our first 4 teams eliminated all came from the left side? We just lost the first 2 columns. All right then, that's pretty interesting. So we got ourselves 7 attacking teams left, and it looks like the Winnipeg Jets are going to be our next attacking team. Now, if I remember correctly, the Jets actually have a better team than you would be expecting. However, the Minnesota Wild have a pretty elite team, so things could be pretty tough. All right, so I might have been completely yapping. Here's the Winnipeg Jets. We got Mark Stone, we got Jarvis, and we have Domi. Domi, technically you were born in Winnipeg. That's why you're on the Winnipeg Jets here. Also, they needed a couple other players. When it comes to the defense, that's actually where they're not too bad here. Travis Sanheim, Ryan Pollock, Severson. Like, you got 3 solid defensemen here. And then when it comes to goaltending, Joel Hofer. Okay, yeah, I guess this team up way too much. Minnesota's probably going to smoke them. Like, Minnesota's just got a bit more offensive depth here. Like, Anders Lee, you got Casey Milstead, Brock Besser, Brock Nelson on the second line. You got Bukestad here. This isn't the greatest team of all time, but there's more offensive depth. When it comes to the defense, Brady Shea, Brock Faber, Justin Falk, Mikey Anderson, Ryan McDonough, Jackson Lacombe. Like, that's a pretty solid defense right there. You might not have a superstar, but you got yourselves 3 lines that you can definitely run. And then when it comes to goaltending, Jake Ottinger. So they might not be the greatest offensively, but they got themselves a defense and they got themselves a goaltender, and that's what really matters most. Now, after trying to gas up the Winnipeg Jets and realizing what they actually have, Minnesota is the heavy favorite here. They're picking up the first 2 goals of the game. Mark Stone is going to be responding in the second period though, so we got ourselves a 1-goal game entering the third. Winnipeg's putting up a better fight than I thought they would be. And just like that, we got ourselves a tie game. Jordan Martinook, a massive goal. We're moving into the final 5 minutes in a tie game here, but Max Domi's picking up a goal. No, ain't no way the Winnipeg Jets are actually going to be winning this one. We're entering the final 53 seconds in this game. Winnipeg's got themselves a 1-goal lead. Who would have thought? So Minnesota's got the goalie pulled. Max Domi's going to bury this win to the empty net. Max Domi's 2 goals is going to be more than enough here. No, the Winnipeg Jets really won that game. Minnesota's facing elimination. Minnesota, by every metric, you probably should be beating the Winnipeg Jets here, but they got the lead in the series now. So the Jets were able to win game number 1 here. If they win game 2, they're going to be taking down the Minnesota Wild, but Minnesota's waking up here. It's a 5-0 victory. We got ourselves game 3 elimination. So the winner of this matchup right here is going to be advancing. Is it going to be the Winnipeg Jets or is it going to be the Minnesota Wild? Well, Minnesota's absolutely flying, but Winnipeg's looking to make a late comeback once again here. But Anders Lee's going to be picking up a big time goal here. I don't know if Winnipeg's going to be able to make this comeback. Like right now, time just isn't on the Winnipeg Jets side. The Minnesota Wild are going to have themselves a power play. Brock Besser's going to be picking up a late goal, and they didn't even need that goal. It's going to be a 4-1 victory for Minnesota, and Winnipeg's going to be falling. So you know what? You can't hate on the Winnipeg Jets. They were certainly the underdogs, and they put up a pretty solid fight. Unfortunately, Minnesota had back-to-back amazing games, and they're going to be taking down the Jets like that. Now, attacking teams just seem to have had no luck so far in this video. The Detroit Red Wings are looking to change that trend as they're attacking next. Like, unless I'm bugging, I think only one attacking team has won so far. It's been all defending teams running the show. The Calgary Flames are getting into their third matchup. They're looking to win another one here. Now, when it comes to the Red Wings, it's actually surprising how many players on the Red Wings actually were already playing for their hometown. Like Dylan Larkin, he's from Michigan. DeBrincat, he's from Michigan. Andrew Kopp, he's from Michigan. So that's 3 players already on the Red Wings playing for their hometown. Now we're going to take a look at the defense. You got Jeff Petrie playing for his hometown team already. It was actually a bit ridiculous how many players from the Red Wings are actually already playing for their hometown. And then when it comes to goaltending, they got Connor Hellebuyck. So yeah, that's a nice addition. So the Flames are looking to pull off another victory while Detroit's trying to pick up their first win of the video. Jake DeBrusk might be picking up the first goal of the game, but then it's going to be 3 straight from the Red Wings before Kirby Dach was able to pick up a second for the Calgary Flames. Moving into the second period, it's going to be all Calgary except for this Andrew Kopp goal. The Flames are going to have themselves a 1-goal lead entering the third period. I feel like so far in this video, I've been going back and forth. I call them the Alberta Flames one moment, then the Calgary Flames the next. It's basically the same team. I'm just using 2 different terms. I should just call them the Flames. Flames. The Flames are up 5-4 here. If I call them the Flames, then technically I'm using the right name here. Taylor Hall's picking up a big time goal. Calgary's on the power play. The Red Wings aren't going to have enough time to respond here. 6 goals on Connor Hellebuyck. He's in his peak playoff form right now. Also, the one thing I am going to point out, technically game number 1 was on the road. So I'm curious to see if Connor Hellebuyck has a historic performance now that he's playing at home. Jacob Middleton's going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Jake Neighbors is picking up the second. Connor Hellebuyck's just falling apart right here. So Alex DeBrincat's going to be saving the Red Wings as he's picking up a big time goal. Calgary had a 5-on-3 that they weren't able to capitalize on. Time isn't on the Red Wings side here. The Flames are going to get themselves another power play that they're not going to be able to capitalize on. I don't see Detroit getting back into this one. We don't need to jump to the final minute 30. It's going to be a sweep for the Flames. Detroit just was doing nothing the entire game. There's no point jumping into the final 30 seconds to see them allow an empty net goal. So the Flames are just on the greatest heater of all time. 3 victories already. They've taken down the Bruins. They've taken down the Ducks. They've taken down the Red Wings. And once again, the defending team's going to be winning. Attacking teams just can't do anything in this video. So with attacking teams doing absolutely nothing, let's see who's going to lose this next matchup. The Toronto Maple Leafs. I guess they're going to be eliminated. The real question is, which team is going to be eliminating the Toronto Maple Leafs? And it looks like it's going to be the St. Louis Blues. Now the St. Louis Blues, they're basically built of the middle third of the United States. The Ducks were the west third. The St. Louis Blues are going to be the middle third. And then the eastern third is going to be the Florida Panthers. Alright, so considering this is the middle of the United States, you would think this team would be a little bit better. Nick Schmaltz, Jake Getzel, Cole Caulfield on the top line. Mason Appleton, Adam Lowry, Clayton Keller on the second line. Like, this isn't a great team whatsoever. Like, this is 1/3 of the United States right here, and this is the best that they could have found. When it comes to goaltending, Joseph Woll is going to have to be the guy, and he's going to have to play like a 99 overall. I just can't see this team beating the Maple Leafs. Now, I'm very confident that this is going to be a 2-game series right here. Nick Suzuki's picking up the first goal of the game. It's going to be a 2-game series for the St. Louis Blues. Ain't no way. Cole Caulfield back-to-back goals. They have the lead entering the third period. Mason Appleton's picking up a goal. Bo Horvat's going to be responding. There's no way St. Louis beats Toronto, right? Like, this isn't going to happen. Jake McCabe, a big-time goal in the third period. Hold on now. What are we witnessing? Are we witnessing a massive collapse for the Toronto Maple Leafs here? We're entering the final minutes in this game. Are they going to be able to pick up another one? No, they aren't. St. Louis is winning game 1. That is the biggest victory we've seen yet. I'm sorry, but there is no way that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to lose to the St. Louis Blues here. The St. Louis Blues don't have nearly as much talent as the Toronto Maple Leafs, yet they have the lead entering the third period. Toronto is folding so incredibly bad here. It's actually ridiculous. No, what am I witnessing? We're entering the final 10 minutes. St. Louis has themselves a power play. They couldn't capitalize on it. If they score on that power play, that might have been the difference maker. We're entering the final minute in this one. Toronto's not doing anything. They are not doing anything whatsoever. They got swept. The St. Louis Blues swept the hometown Maple Leafs. Like, this is who is on the Maple Leafs. Drew Doughty, Connor McDavid, Travis Konechny, Alex Pietrangelo, Matt Duchene, Mark Scheifele, Tom Wilson, Jordan Kyrou, Zach Hyman, Robert Thomas, Nick Suzuki, Jake Wallman, Bo Horvat. You're telling me this team is losing to the St. Louis Blues team? Like, you're telling me this team with Ryan Suter playing 17 minutes and Pat Maroon playing 11 minutes is beating the Toronto Maple Leafs team in a sweep? No, that's crazy. Like, there's just no way that happened. The Toronto Maple Leafs didn't just lose to the St. Louis Blues. That didn't happen. There is no way the Toronto Maple Leafs, the hometown Toronto Maple Leafs, with Connor McDavid and an amazing supporting cast, lost to that St. Louis Blues team. Like, what's going on here? The Toronto Maple Leafs curse is real, and it's carried over into NHL 25 because that's ridiculous. Now, at this point, I'm fully convinced attacking teams will never win again. Calgary, you've won 3 matchups already. Unfortunately, it's about to come to an end. Like, seriously, it actually doesn't make sense. There's no way attacking teams should be losing this much. We have an all-Canadian matchup. It's Calgary versus Vancouver. Once again, I just realized I called them Calgary. It's the Alberta Flames. That's neither here nor there. It's still an all-Canadian matchup. Now, Calgary and Vancouver are 2 great teams here. Vancouver has a lot of offense, but you know, Calgary, they just have a bunch of dogs on their team. They just keep on winning matchups here. But Dart and Kirby Dach are going to be exchanging goals. It's going to be a close third period. And what is surprising, the big-time moments, we're seeing Taylor Hall step up. Taylor Hall stepped up a lot in this video. He's picked up some big-time goals. There's 7 minutes left in the game. Vancouver hasn't been able to pick up a goal in the third period quite yet. We'll see if they can and pick one up in the final moments here. There's a minute left in the game. Vancouver, you don't have too much time to respond. So we're in the final 35 seconds, and Connor Bedard might have a break here. He's trying to take a shot towards the net, but Jake DeBrusk is breaking up. Here goes Josh Morrissey. He's going to have a chance at the empty net. Brain Point, what are you doing? You got to bury that one. Dylan Gunther, what are you doing? You got to bury that one. We have players missing empty nets. You just love to see it. Braden Point's got the puck in the offensive zone. Jared Spurgeon can score. What am I witnessing right now? And Vancouver's going the other way. They had numbers there for a second. Nugent's shot's going to be blocked. As long as they can hold on to the puck, which they can't, the Flames might still lose this one. They're ringing it off the post, and because of that post right there, they're going to be dropping this game. The goaltender was beat, but they couldn't beat the post, and the Alberta Flames are going to be taking game number 1. That was a thriller right there. Now, I did not expect the Alberta Flames to be an absolute powerhouse, but here we are. Sissons and Evander Kane are picking up goals in the first period, and so is Dylan Holloway. Moving into the second period, we're going to see the Flames taking over. Josh Morrissey's picking up a big goal. Jake Neighbors is getting a shorthanded goal. It's a 3-2 game for the Flames. Vancouver's going to have to make a comeback here, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Sam Reinhart, a big third period goal, but lots of time left. Like, at the end of the day, it's only a matter of time before the Alberta Flames find the back of the net, and they're doing that back-to-back goals, 2 goals in less than a minute. They're taking over this game, and they're going to take down the Vancouver Canucks. They have now beaten 4 teams. The Alberta Flames have beaten 4 teams. Florida hasn't even been in a matchup yet, and they also won as an attacking team. That doesn't happen often. So we're down to our final 4 teams. The Calgary Flames have beaten 4 teams. This is ridiculous. Florida, you have to attack sooner than later. Now, it's actually kind of funny. I believe the last attacking team to win a game was actually the Vancouver Canucks. So that worked out. The Florida Panthers is going to be our next attacking team. It's finally time to see if they can do something. Now, Calgary better not get into another matchup here. Like, we need to see a different team, and it looks like it's going to be the St. Louis Blues. So it's going to be the middle third of the United States taking on the eastern third. Now we have the eastern third of the United States here. We're looking at Jack Hughes, JT Miller, Drake Batherson, Vincent Trocheck, Logan Cooley, Jack Roslovic. Like, we got some decent players here. When it comes to the defense, Quinn Hughes is going to be leading the way. He has Jacob Chikrin at his side. Kessel Ring is an 85 overall. I'm going to be completely honest. I did not know until this moment right here that Kessel Ring is an 85 overall in NHL 25. I've been sleeping on him apparently. I did not realize he was an 85 overall. Lane Hudson an 86. Has Kessel Ring really played that good this season? Like, good enough to the point where he's an 85 overall? Alright, I must have been sleeping on bro. Apparently he's absolutely lighting the lamp. John Gibson, 85 overall. But yeah, Michael Kesselring, buddy, I have been sleeping. Apparently you're absolutely locked in on Utah. I gotta start paying more attention. Apparently Kesselring's that man. So we got 2 solid American teams teaming up here. It's 10 states versus basically another 10 states. We have 20 states at battle here, but only one can win. Cole Caulfield and Jackson Blake are picking up goals in the first period. Nick Schmaltz is picking up a goal in the second. Unless Florida scores pretty quick here, I'm going to assume they're going to be dropping this game. And yeah, with that Jake McCabe goal, this one's over. Garnet Hathaway is going to pick up 1 goal. But yeah, Florida's facing elimination already. But that's what happens in a best of 3 series. Like, you can't afford to drop game number 1. If you drop game number 1, you're going to be in a tough spot. But look at the Florida Panthers responding in game number 2. 4 goals in the first period. They're locked in. Another 2 in the second. I don't think we're going to see a crazy comeback from St. Louis. So I think Florida's going to be taking this one. We will sim a couple minutes, but you know what? I'm feeling pretty confident. Florida's taking this one, and we got game 3 elimination. So we have the big game, game number 3. The winner of this matchup is going to be moving on. And look at the St. Louis Blues coming out flying. Patty Maroon, Clayton Killer, Cole Caulfield, 3 big goals in the first period, but the Florida Panthers are responding. Jacob Chikrin and Ryan Hartman are going to keep this a close game. I need the Blues to play some pretty solid defense here. Now, Jackson Blake, that is a big time goal right there. Big time players are making big time plays. We're in the final 5 minutes. I don't think Florida's going to be responding. It doesn't look like it. They would score with a minute left in the game. Olivier would pick up a late one, but it's not going to be enough. The Blues are taking down the Florida Panthers. It took them till the final 4 to finally get into a matchup, but now they're eliminated and we're down to our final 3. So the Florida Panthers are eliminated and we're down to our final 3 teams. We have the Alberta Flames, the Minnesota Wild, and then the St. Louis Blues representing the Central United States right down the middle third. The Minnesota Wild are our last team that has to attack, and let's see who they're going to take on. They're either taking on Calgary or St. Louis. Now we know who's going to be attacking. It's going to be the Minnesota Wild, and what a surprise, The Calgary Flames are being involved in their 5th matchup. They've won 4 so far. They're about to make it 5 wins. So we got the semifinal right here, the Minnesota Wild and Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames have looked elite so far in this video, and you know what? They're going to continue to look elite. However, we do have a tie game entering the 3rd period, and this one could go either way. But you just know in the big time moments, the Calgary Flames are going to find the back of the net. The Calgary Flames are scoring 2. The Alberta Flames are scoring 2. The Edmonton Flames are scoring 2. It just doesn't matter. This Flames team always finds a way to find the back of the net, and that's what they're doing here. They're taking game number 1. Snuggerud might have scored with 37 seconds left, but it doesn't matter. The Flames got game 1. I have never seen a team go on a run quite like the Flames are right now. They're exchanging goals in the 1st period. Moving into the 2nd, it's Jacob Milton picking up a big time goal. It's the defense. The defense has been the big difference, and Taylor Hall has been the big difference. How many goals has this man scored in today's video? It's a 4-1 lead. They scored a ridiculous amount of goals. Dylan Gunther, a hat trick in the 3rd period, a 6-3 victory. The Minnesota Wild are eliminated, and the Alberta Flames have won their 5th game. It's nothing but sheer greatness from the Alberta Flames right now. You want to call them the Alberta Flames, that's fine. You want to call them the Calgary Flames, that's fine. If you want to call them the Edmonton Flames, I'm perfectly fine with that as well. 5 victories so far. They're looking to make it 6 against the St. Louis Blues. The Flames are looking to take this one home for Canada. So this is what we've been waiting for, the final. The Blues taking on the Calgary Flames. The Flames have been on a heater, and that heater's continuing. 3 goals in the 1st period. Makar, Holloway, Bobby McMahon. The Blues would respond in the 2nd period with a goal from Mason Appleton, but they still have quite the hill to climb. And you know what? They're probably not going to be climbing that hill. Okay, we've had a lot of goal scoring so far. The Flames have picked up 2 goals. The Blues have picked up 2 goals. It's still a 2-goal game entering the final 10 minutes here. The Blues have to pick up the next goal if they want to win this game. They got to give themselves a chance here. They're on the power play, but they couldn't capitalize. They're just not going to have enough time left. The Flames are taking game 1. The Blues are facing elimination. Calgary's going to do the impossible here. So what's been the big difference for the Flames so far? It's that defense. They have one of the best defenses. And you know what else has been the difference maker? All the depth pieces stepping up. I questioned this team from the very beginning, but you know what? They found a way to find the back of the net, and it's been coming from stick on the ice legends such as Bobby McMahon. But you know who else has been scoring a lot of goals for the Flames? Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall has picked up a ridiculous amount of goals, and I can only assume he's going to get one more. Walker Duehr's picking up a big time goal, but so is Jake Getzel. The Blues are going to be giving themselves the lead in this game, but there's lots of time left for the Flames. We're about to enter the final minute here. Brendan Gallagher, a big time goal right there. We got ourselves overtime in this one. If the Calgary Flames can score, they're going to be taking this one. The Blues will be eliminated, and Calgary will be the best hometown team. What did I just witness? What change was that? What was the thought process there? Clayton Keller wasn't able to capitalize. Nah, the Blues should win this game. What was that change? Like, I'm sorry, what did I witness? I saw 3 Calgary Flames go to the bench. I thought at first these boys were going for the puck, and then the second he turned with the puck here, I was like, oh my god, they're going for a change. Mason Appleton, he's going to send this puck up. They had a 3-on-0. A 3-on-0. The St. Louis Blues should have won this game, but there was too much passing there. Logan Thompson's going to get across in time. What were they doing? The Blues should have capitalized, but what was that change? Now, since that ridiculous change, the Flames have absolutely been flying. Taylor Hall had a chance to end it, and when I saw Taylor Hall taking that shot, I thought it was guaranteed to be over. Taylor Hall is not going to miss a shot like that. For the way this man's performed so far in this video, it only makes sense for Taylor Hall to spark the final goal, and he might pick up an assist here. Bobby McMahon had a chance to end it, but he couldn't find the back of the net. Who just took a penalty? Jake Neighbors for hooking. What are you doing? Jake Neighbors, in a game like this, you can't be picking up a hooking penalty there. You just need to lock in and help your team win. I don't know what you were doing. Where did you pick up the hooking penalty? I don't see anything quite yet. That's not a hook. Okay, that's fair. I'll give it to him. That's a fair call. But Jake Neighbors, you can't be doing that in a moment like this. Okay, St. Louis, you had an amazing opportunity to score here, and y'all have done absolutely nothing. Calgary's had more offensive zone time than you guys have. I don't know what you're doing here. Cole Caulfield's absolutely exhausted. Calgary could probably score a shorthanded goal based on how tired St. Louis is right now. They have way too many gas players on the ice. Calgary's got a bit of gas in the tank here. They might be able to create something. Sam Steele's bringing the puck into the offensive zone. Unfortunately, he's gassed as well. Kane Gooley doesn't have a lot left in the tank. Tyson Joseph's got it, sending it back to Sam Steele. He's just wasting time here. Kane Gooley's going to try to send it down. The Blues would have had a breakaway, but Jake Neighbors is jumping out of the box, and he's got energy. He's going to be breaking that play up. Okay, I'm not going to lie, St. Louis, you did a whole lot of nothing on that power play. I think you took one shot. Y'all did nothing whatsoever. Jake DeBrusk's team went up. Joseph Wall, big time save right there. But yeah, St. Louis, you got to get the offense going. If you want to win this game, you have to score, and you guys are doing absolutely nothing. You're not helping your cause whatsoever. You're just turning the puck over in the offensive zone, giving the Flames the full pressure meter all maxed out. No, the game might be over right here. A big time hit right there. The Flames just keep putting on pressure. The Blues can't do anything right now. I mean, the Blues are going to be fine if the Flames keep taking penalties here. Like, they are selling. Josh Morrissey, he's picking up a tripping penalty. What is this team doing? Now, this power play is going to be very interesting because Calgary has a lot of guys with energy on the ice. St. Louis is pretty exhausted right now, so I don't really know what they're going to be able to pull out here. Ryan Suter's going to send towards the front of the net, but Logan Thompson's making the save. We're already halfway through the power play. Neither team has really done anything. So Jackson Blake's got, but he's going to be absolutely lit up. And now the Flames are going the other way. Cale Makar's got himself a breakaway, sending up to Taylor Hall. And it only makes sense in a video like this for Taylor Hall to score the winner. Bro has been elite from game 1 to game 2 to game number 6. The Calgary Flames played in 6 different games, and in the most important game, Taylor Hall, a man who has stepped up in every game, is picking up the overtime winner. That was the perfect way to end this. Taylor Hall, out of all players, is the guy that deserved to end that the most. Now, for the first time in history, in a challenge type video like this, we have seen a team win 6 games. I don't believe we've ever seen a team win 6 games before, and it was the hometown Calgary Flames. Just for a bit of context, there was 12 teams. There is one team left, the Calgary Flames. Calgary beat 6 teams. They beat over half of their potential opponents. Minnesota was able to take down the Winnipeg Jets. The Vancouver Canucks took down Montreal. The Toronto Maple Leafs took down the New York Rangers. St. Louis took down Florida and Toronto, but Calgary themselves took down the Ducks, the Wild, the Bruins, the Red Wings, the Blues, and the Vancouver Canucks. We have never seen anything like this before. History was made.